Welcome to Matam, September 2024, part 2. I'm continuing this series with a new format. So here's the first picture. As I was trying to do for a long time, I'm going to try to do a series of photo using one preset. So that's the QR code you can film if you want to use it with the apps I've developed that are compatible, which is Camare, Vica, Darkcam, and Digital Paula. And this first pre-selection I thought was really interesting because it's kind of soft, but it's basically a simulation of thermal color printing. And these are pictures taken near the Perlan hot water reservoirs. I talked about it last week. And here's the two pictures. It gives you a good idea of the rendering. Basically, you have Safrano as in saturator, which creates those zones of light and dark color, kind of smoothly transitioned. But it really gives it an old school, even so it's a printer, a thermal printer, which is not that analog. But I really liked the rendering of this pre-selection, which I did using random mode on Camare. Here again was this cat, this 3-foot cat, which had fun being taken in photos. For those who go to Reykjavík, they will know the cat, probably. Or simply this detail of this sign in the center of Reykjavík, which I thought was, I don't know, I kind of thought was interesting. It's not really brilliant photography, but anyhow. Here on the left, that's I actually took a blurry photo of my forearm. That was I didn't plan to do it, but I thought the result was interesting graphically. Or simply this concert on the right at Mengi. It's one of those nice concert halls alternative concert halls in Reykjavík. Next two photos. I'm a lot in Reykjavík these last months, so a lot of my testing is done there. So that's why a lot of the photos are localized there. Again, same preset card. I thought the rendering was interesting on the asphalt. On the left was the moss, the painting, the textures, or this window simply in this underground apartment and this garden. I thought the rendering made it interesting. So yeah, if you want to use that preset and do your own series with it, here's the QR code. Let's go to another QR code, a new pre-selection, a new preset card, processor, archival file. That's how I named it for now. I'll probably change the name in the future. This preset was kind of interesting in my opinion because very low contrast, a really weird approach to colors with, as you can see with those two images, a lot of cyan, lots of magenta, very circular way of approaching it. But either this image of leaves in front of a window with a background light, or this garden also in one of the suburbs of Reykjavík, I thought it was really interesting. I might continue the series using this preset card in future months. But yeah, if you want to experiment already, please feel free, use that QR code and go for it and share it if you want. It would be interesting to see what you do with it. Okay, let's go to another preset card. This one was interesting, I think, because it's more monochromatic. It's black and white. It actually starts with an insaturator, which is Komop. Let's take the first pictures here. So actually, it's usually a very digital-looking insaturator, but KT32 filminator that finishes the treatment makes it really, really analog looking. And I thought it was really interesting using also this camera in Vica, which has a very long aspect ratio. I think I really had lots of pleasure using it, and I'm definitely going to continue using this preset card. And yeah, 4 examples in my daily street photography. Again, here's 3 pictures. The one in the middle and the one on the left, that's detailed of Reykjavík. This very elongated aspect ratio. Actually, the picture in the middle, that's the VD Island with the mountains behind, the Esja mountain. That's a little bit on the left on the picture. Or this bus. Actually, here, you won't be able to do that with Vica anymore because that was the result of a bug. When I was importing, depending on how you import preset cards, you lose the aspect ratio. So I lost the aspect ratio, still using the same camera, but I really liked the rendering again. And yeah, here a landscape view using the same preset with the bay, Reykjavík Bay, with the mountains far away, the volcanic mountains, and this small boat, sailboat in the middle. I really like the very contrasty, dark, grainy rendering of this preset. Here again, you have the QR code. If you want to enjoy it, just go for it. That's the goal. To continue with this month, let's go more with the random mode of Camare. So those are not going to be series, but I thought these three pictures were interesting. The one on the left is interesting because the berries are actually very light, bright red. And the filter, in that case, that's Vica, really definitely desaturates and darkens the reds. And that was the result in that case. Or in the middle, that's 8DR, an insaturator that I had developed originally for really low light situations. Really increases the contrast, the saturation, but in very high lit situations, I think it's really interesting too. All those pictures are in Reykjavík, by the way. And on the right, this house on the border, on the shore, with the sunset, you actually have a lot of the colors that disappear. You have very monocolor-like look to it, and I thought that made it very interesting, very kind of almost romantic, but in a weird way. And here again, the picture on the left kind of looks like the preset card we had before that I started the series this week with, but I liked the rendering. Basically here that's Herate and this thermal printer work to finish the aspect of the picture. Or in the middle, this very dual color like rendering of this plate with those small flowers. I really liked the graphical aspect of it. Or on the right, that's using Arguable as an insaturator, and then having this treatment over it. It made it quite dark, low contrast, kind of an old look to it. And you can see that's Reykjavík, and you can see the port with all those reservoirs. Those are oil reservoirs in the port. And in the back, you have the sun that's hitting the mountains, which is really nice as the city is really dark under the clouds. Here, you have all the QR codes if you want to experiment with those presets. Otherwise, one of my favorite presets is, of course, Bomber Baba with this weird way of transforming colors. And that's a place I tend to take a lot of pictures of. That's west of Reykjavík, and far away you can see northeast. You have all those volcanoes in the horizon and the sea in between. I really like the rendering here of the scene. Here, if you want to play with it, the QR code. Or here, there's a lot of alternative places in Reykjavík, and that's a small, kind of almost punk place, I would say. And you have two musicians talking before the concert starts. I thought it was interesting, this mix of a very digital-looking insaturator, which has come up, and the treatment of filmilator treatment, which is very analog with the grain, the dust, and that's QQ Berg. I thought the rendering was really interesting. So here's the QR code, or here's the two pictures left and middle. That's the same place. Sometimes in very low light, it's interesting to go with kind of monochromatic, monocolor renderings. And on the left, you have Arguable that created this sort of weird silhouette-like rendering of the intensities of the picture. And above, I have this papier transformation filmilator that gives it this folded paper look. Or in the middle, here Herate creates this sort of weird, dark rendering. And above, the last layer is actually KDT32 that gives it a very analog feel and actually removes most of the color. But here the value of the variator must be pretty low because you still have some of the bluish hue of the original picture. Or on the right, that's going to be the last picture for this presentation. That's something very similar to the preset card we had before, basically KDT32 for the finishing, and Herate as in saturator that will create some geometric distortion, which will create something really weird and some ghost images. And I thought that was interesting. It's a photo of you can see the church of Reykjavík far away, this sort of small needle going up. You have this light, this road light in the middle. That's basically the main subject of the picture. That's near the regional airport in Reykjavík. Anyhow, here's the 3 QR codes for the last pictures. If you want to use it, please do. Please share too. If you have comments, suggestions, questions, you desire new types of algorithm, don't hesitate. And yeah, hopefully that was entertaining, and catch you next time.